is Kafka used for? That's the question I am trying to answer today. And when I talk about Kafka, it is Apache Kafka, the open source platform. Let me use my pointer here so that I can emphasize Apache Kafka, which is used for streaming, messaging, a lot of use cases, but I'll be focused on the top 5 use cases where Apache Kafka is used within enterprises. So, number one use case, let me use my pen again. Number one use case is CDC. You see a lot of companies, large enterprises having multiple databases. When we talk about databases, I'm using an example here. MySQL, Postgres, all these are databases. And once you have database and changes happening, you want to aggregate that information over to a data warehouse. On this side, a typical setup is something called Debezium, which streams or takes change events from a database like MySQL, reads the bin logs, the places where the logs are stored for these databases, and then produces events within Kafka, uh, passes that on to Kafka, and Kafka luckily has connected to some of these warehouses. In this case, an example of ClickHouse is used on the right-hand side, and you pass these events into ClickHouse. The reason why you need this is you could have multiple databases on the left-hand side. I'm only showing one database, and then you pass multiple change data events into Kafka, into ClickHouse. So you have one aggregated view across multiple databases. So very efficient to do this because you could have multiple events happening within Kafka, and you pass these into the warehouse for analytics use cases. Number two use case is web activity. So this is, even though uh, I'm calling it out as number two use case, it was, I think, one of the primary reasons why Kafka was created. So let me do this. Number two, uh, right? We have web activity. So let's imagine a situation you're running an e-commerce site or a product website, and the user comes in and searches for some hardware. In this example, I'm using a humidifier. So this search produces an event, a web user event, a user activity event, which is pushed into Kafka, into a Kafka topic, let's call it searches, and then this topic is being listened to, or being a process is consuming these search topics or searches topic, and it does something after that. It pushes that into a table, like a promotions table. So it could do, depending on how many searches it sees in a given day, maybe, or in a given week for a specific topic, it can either indicate creating a promotion dynamically or notifying the marketing team or whoever is responsible for promotion. So that's a typical use case. Real-time offers using web activity is a big thing. A lot of e-commerce companies are using it to produce smart recommendations. Okay, so Kafka helps you, capture those events, and then you can process it later. Number three use case is a little more complicated, but very common now, or getting more common as people move from batch jobs into streaming. There's a big shift happening as we speak. A lot of people are still in batch mode and they are moving into streaming because it makes sense. You don't have to deal with large volumes of data in a short period of time. Instead, you deal with incremental data. So in this case, metrics, and three types of metrics you can think about. One is transactional. Let's assume credit cards. You want to pass that information over, and you want to think about, highlighting large value customers, or, on the extreme case, looking at fraud. Or operational metrics. Let's assume you have, a logistics company, or let's assume you're a manufacturing company. You want to send some metrics, and this could be, let's say you are running meters across multiple homes, or you have that data streaming in. You stream that data into Kafka, and then you can do, aggregated information at a later point in time. Or you have IoT data, and you want to push that into Kafka. And this is a little extreme diagram explaining what's happening inside Kafka. You can ignore that for now, but you typically have a Kafka cluster, and then people or systems listen to that cluster, right? So the consumers could be like I showcased initially, it could be a warehouse, it could be a stream processing system. This is actually pretty complex to do. There are multiple players in this space, stream processing. And then, or you could do search and analytics, a real-time search and analytics where you don't have to wait for long scale or long-term indexing to happen. So multiple metrics where you could pass on. In this case, you have business data and machine data and financial data going in, and then you can start making sense across different business units and produce metrics for your business users to consume. So that's, I guess that's number four. Let me see, or number three. I don't remember. Let me see what was. This is number two. Yeah, number three. So let me write that down. Number three, metrics. Fourth use case is stream enrichment. So right, number four. So what does stream enrichment mean? So you might get from multiple systems, you might get what we call raw events, right? So once you have raw events, let's say assume it's product information as it is being delivered to your distribution center. So you got product, right? And that's raw information. But it is as soon as the product is available in the distribution center, you are pushing that into a Kafka topic. And then you, as soon as you get that product, you're taking this product and processing it through a streaming app, stream processing system, multiple systems out there. I think I have a reference in a video called What is a Stream, a YouTube video in the past I've published, and there are examples of stream processing apps there. But once you have that, you could go and say, okay, I have this product. Let's call it, I don't know, E1. It's an event though. And then I'm saying, what are the pending orders for E1 on the website. So you could have customers actually putting orders in for that specific product, and you could tie that up to order count, for example. So you're enriching product data with order count, which is happening live, and which gives some idea for the logistics team on what to do next, right? So that's an analysis of events happening somewhat real time because these kind of things are required, these kind of stream things are required to make faster decisions as the environment changes with the user, with the market, or in this case, a logistics example, right? A stream enrichment use case is very popular, and you essentially have events, like I said, you enrich that event data with something else outside that event data. Okay, um, so that's that. The number five use case, the last use case I will be talking about is what we call distributed commit logs with an I, commit. So if you see a shift, there's a lot of shift where companies are moving from monolithic apps to microservices. And when you have microservices, what happens is all these microservices have their own set of logs. So a good way to look at what's happening across multiple services. In this example, I have an application, I have these microservices, I have some monitoring of some of these apps. Also have other backend things like Oracle, NoSQL, MongoDB database, Spark, and all this thing. And once I'm processing all this stuff, and I could be going across multiple microservices, and then you have logs happening or these systems committing logs, and you want a good unified way of taking a look at it across time. Kafka is an amazing solution for that, especially when you have a distributed commit log. So that's number five, and that should cover the top five use cases with Apache Kafka and how Apache Kafka is used within an enterprise. Thank you.